Hi friends, today I'm going to discuss an OET letter for nurses. The receiver is an oncologist. So let's see how to do it. And before that, if you like my channel and if you found it's effective and useful for you, please like and subscribe. Thank you. So let's see how to tackle this OET letter. So first the age is mentioned and the patient name is Mr. Wayne Johnson. It's not showing here. Sorry for that. Then the first attended date is shown is 25/6/2018. And what is his medical issue? So we have to read the subheadings on the left side. So he came with a progressive back pain with gait instability. Then he has bladder and bowel abnormalities as well. Then what about his mental state? Alert, has OCD. So even though he is alert, he has OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Then we're talking about social and family history is given. He worked as a lumberjack, stays with family. Then property in a hilly area. Shows confidence in recovery, able to manage mood fluctuations. Then just move on to the medical history. It's known case of hypertension and diabetes mellitus. Appendectomy performed 8 years ago. First visit back pain and paraplegia. Then bowel and bladder incontinence he had. Then patient advised wheelchair for mobility because of this back pain and paraplegia. Then suggested social worker for support and visit was scheduled every month. So from this information we can understand first he was visited on June 25th and now he visited again because it was scheduled every month. Then present situation MRI shows lycric lesion in lumbar vertebrae and renal functions are deranged. Then anion albumin globulin ratio also deranged. Then urine electrophoresis shows M-band and biopsy confirms multiple myeloma. That's why we are referring to the oncologist. Then he underwent spinal fixation. Then he requires radiotherapy and further management. Needs tailor brace for increased mobility. So let's see what is the writing task here. So using the information given on the case notes, write a letter of referral to Dr. Juliet Maria, Chief Oncologist, Hill Blake Specialty Hospital, 45 Orchard Avenue, Swanfield, outlining the need for further management. So let's see what all information we have to include in this letter. So first of all we have to mention the address, then the current date and the salutation, dear Dr. Maria. So the reference, the name was given Mr. Wayne Johnson. The age is 65 years. So what all things we have to inform the oncologist? So first we have to tell him how he was admitted on the first admission and what all complaints he had that time, and then what is his diagnosis, how it was diagnosed, then if any what all history we have to include. So from here we can understand that in his known case of hypertension and diabetes mellitus and appendectomy performed 8 years ago. It was completed. This action was completed 8 years ago. So no need to mention to the oncologist, and from his part nothing to be done. So no need to include this information. So first visit was with the back pain and paraplegia. So we can mention that one. Then he had bowel and bladder incontinence. So at that time he was advised to use wheelchair for mobility because he had this paraplegia. Then social worker support also was suggested. Then the visit was scheduled every month. So then how it was diagnosed, the MRI shows like registration, then what all investigations was done. So we have to include that one, and biopsy was done and the surgery also. So we have to inform him about this one. So let's see how to write the introduction. So introduction is very important in this letter. In all letters, the important, that is the main thing we have to mention. From while reading this introduction, the receiver should get the full information. The purpose of the letter should be included in that one. So it should be very clear for him why they are referring to me. So let's see how to write. So this is a referral letter. We can write, I am writing to refer Mr. Wayne Johnson. So if any surgery has performed recently, like that he is recovering from any surgery, we can mention that one. And the diagnosis can be, and how he was admitted, we can mention in the second paragraph. So he had this spinal fixation. So the doctor will get an information he had a surgery due to what. So it will be well written in the introduction itself. So we can write, who has recently undergone spinal fixation. For what he underwent this spinal fixation? Because he has this multiple myeloma. So we can write due to multiple myeloma, or owing to multiple myeloma, or because of multiple myeloma, like that we can write. So what we are requesting? So requires radiotherapy and further management. It is written well clear. It's written here, so we can write that one itself. Requires radiotherapy and further management. So our introduction has completed. So next we can write here in the second paragraph. So Mr. Johnson, who is hypertensive and diabetic. So in that one the history has completed, so no need to write any past medical history again. So we can concise in that way. So if we can include any relevant information together, so just write together, so no need to make another sentence. So our letter will be more concise. So we can write, Mr. Johnson, who is hypertensive and diabetic, present to hospital on 25 June 2018 with what all the complaints he had: back pain, paraplegia, bowel and bladder incontinence. So that was the complaints that time when he was presented first time. Therefore, so there should be a flow, so we can use some connectives, but be careful, don't use any unnecessary connectives. If the sentence get the complete it can provide the complete information without any connective, just don't use the connective. So just use that sentence only. So here we can write, therefore he was advised to use a wheelchair for mobilization and was arranged social services or social worker support. So it is clear from here. Then just leave a line and we can write in the third paragraph, today how he came again. It was happened in the previous admission. So today Mr. Johnson's pain has worsened. See, progressive back pain it's mentioned. So we can tell it's deteriorated or progressive back pain, but it's better to use synonyms. Don't repeat the same words from the letter several times, and even the same words don't repeat. So just use the synonyms for that one. So we can write, today Mr. Johnson's. So Johnson's means apostrophe S. Pain has worsened with the gait instability. So his diagnostic evaluations revealed So no need to mention one by one in the investigation. So we can write diagnostic evaluations revealed M band in urine electrophoresis and acrylic lesion in the lumbar vertebrae. So apart from that, his renal functions and albumin to globulin ratio were found to be deranged. Why we used were? Because we mentioned two, that is actions we mentioned, renal functions and also the age ratio. So that's why we used were, or if it was only one, we can use was deranged. Consequently, that means as a result, due to that, like that, consequently the surgery was performed after a biopsy. So it was included everything here. The surgery was performed after a biopsy. So don't repeat spinal fixation again, because we have mentioned it in the introduction. So we can use the surgery or procedure like that. Then what is his condition now? Currently he needs tailor brace for increased mobility. So nothing has omitted here. We include the medical history, then the presenting complaints, the previous admission complaints, like that. Everything was included, diagnostic evaluations and what he needs. So we can write, considering the above, it would be greatly appreciated if you could provide appropriate treatment and supportive care for Mr. Johnson. So don't repeat again he needs radiotherapy or further management like that. So we can just use another word like appropriate treatment and supportive care for Mr. Johnson. Then the concluding sentence, please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any queries regarding Mr. Johnson. So as the name of the receiver is given here, you can use yours sincerely, registered nurse. If the name is not given, you should use yours faithfully. I think it is clear for you, and if you didn't subscribe my channel yet, and if you found it effective, please subscribe, like and share it. Thank you.